Hello everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well. I've just watched the Astana game, which has taken place in Kazakhstan. It's not even in Astana, it's in Almaty, hundreds of miles away from Astana itself. I think they're having their stadium rebuilt or something like that. I've been watching this one in my living room at home. Really gutted that I couldn't go. I was looking at going. I was certainly looking at it, but it was too expensive, guys. It was too expensive. It was difficult to get there. I couldn't do it. And I think there was only about, from what I heard, less than 100 Chelsea fans from England who flew out for this game. So first of all, can I just say, big hats off to you, because your commitment is absolutely sensational. That's what this club thrives on, and so for some of you it might have been easier than for others, but you still made the effort to go and watch the team, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. So big shout out to everyone that went to this game, especially if you come from England. I know from looking at the flights and the length of time and the amount of time you have to take off of work, how much of a commitment that is. So massive respect there. But I mean, just looking at the match as well, I mean, if we look at the players that we had on the pitch for this one, it's pretty much a 100% rotation. Everything was different except for Neto. He was probably the only player in that team. Trying to think if there's anyone else. No, it's just Neto, that's it. And obviously that's because he's banned for the Brighton game. He's got a suspension, picking up too many cards. He was fantastic. I thought Neto was brilliant. You could see when you were watching the game that he was the bright spark for us. Not just the bright spark, but the player that could create something from nothing. The player that had the confidence to pick that pass, go for that cross, drive at players. And he was only on the pitch for 45 minutes, but I still think it was a really good performance from Neto. And quite frankly, I'm really, really impressed with what I've seen from this man. We also saw Dewsbury Hall in the squad. Chukwuemeka making his first start for Chelsea since 2023 against West Ham, where he scored. That was when Pochettino was still our manager. I thought Chukwuemeka was pretty good. He was lively, but it's difficult, isn't it? When you've had so much time out, you need to see a run of games, but I don't think we're going to see it. Unfortunately, we saw Dewsbury Hall in there as well. He just seems to be the number one pick in every Conference League game. For me, Dewsbury Hall is a good option to have in the Conference League. I thought he would be a little bit better, though. I still thought that there was moments where I wanted to see him pass forward, driving forward at players. I'm surprised with his lack of dribbling ability, to be honest with you. Dewsbury just doesn't really seem to be able to dribble that well. But he keeps things ticking. He is one of the engines in that midfield, and he maintains this sort of, well, he's like clockwork, isn't it? You know what he's going to do, and he fits into that system. But to be honest with you, I'm not surprised that Chelsea are open to selling Dewsbury Hall based on what I saw today. I mean, when we're in the Champions League, where's he going to play? Who's he going to play ahead of? You've got Santos coming in. You've got all these players. Chukwu going to come back. I don't see Dewsbury Hall getting a place in the midfield, to be honest with you. I really don't see it. Jorgensen back in goal. No clean sheet for him, but I still thought it was a relatively, decent performance. He had a moment when there was a ball in the air. He came out, he punched it. Little bit iffy at that moment in time, but we didn't concede any serious chances from it. Good distribution, nothing that comes out to mind. I felt comfortable with him in goal, especially compared to when we've had Robert Sanchez in the past. And he made one or two good saves as well on top of that. I think they had a nice long-range effort in the second half. Astana. And to be fair, the goal that they scored was just fantastic. It was a great team goal from Astana. Yes, we could have defended it better, but you can't blame the goalkeeper for that, can you? So I'm not going to sit here and blame Jorgensen for not getting a clean sheet. Not his fault whatsoever. No, not many goalkeepers in the world would save that, if any, because it come off the post and then come in. One player I was really impressed was I was really impressed by Rak-Sakyi, who was playing as sort of our defensive midfielder, our maestro in the middle, getting us ticking, connecting the midfield and the defence, allowing us to transition the ball up the field. And one of the things that I heard on commentary, because I was watching it on the telly, we have TNT Sports for those of you who are not in England. I loved how simple he was. Sometimes you see players coming into that position and trying to do so much, and you saw it towards the end of the game when some of the younger players come on as well. Just taking an extra touch where you don't need to. And I understand they're trying to impress the manager, but sometimes just keeping things simple is the best way to do it. And I thought he did that brilliantly. I was really impressed with Rak-Sakyi. I thought he did a great job. Really great job. And to be quite frank, he is a player that I would keep in the squad based on that performance. He's a player who deserves more minutes in the Conference League based on that performance. I thought it was a very mature display. He gave the ball away at the first half and I thought, oh God. And then he wins it straight back. So even if he's making mistakes, he's coming back and he's rectifying those mistakes. Sometimes you see a player lose the ball. What do? They don't do anything. They shy away from it. Not this guy. He was stuck in. Good performance from Rak-Sakyi as well. Tyreek George, who I thought was very positive. Unlucky not to get on the score sheet. He was desperate to score, wasn't he? He really wanted to get a goal, but it wasn't to be. But that is just because he didn't get a goal in this game does not mean it wasn't a good performance. He was a threat on that left-hand side. We've seen him play on the right before, especially in pre-season as well. I'm sure he played on the right. I was a fan of him at that point. And I think that he showed a lot of character. He wasn't afraid. Sometimes one of the things that annoys me, and this is where, I like players like Madueke, for example, at times, is you want a player to just get at defenders and drive, have a crack. We've said this about Jadon Sancho and wingers that we've had in recent years. Why can't you just have a go at goal? Stop picking the safe option. And I feel like George's decision making was relatively good in the sense that he wasn't going for goal at bad times. He was creating openings and then he was going for it. He was brave, but there was still some good link up there as well. Just looked very bright, very positive from George. So maybe a loan spell would be good for him, as well as Mark Guiu as well. 2 goals. That first goal as well from Mark Guiu, absolutely brilliant. That is what you want to see from a striker. And what that shows me is that this is not just a player who missed so many chances against Heidenheim and would have exactly the same thing against Astana, because there's plenty of players out there who get chances and they keep missing the chances and they keep missing the chances. But he almost, I don't want to say it reminds me of Nicholas Jackson, because I don't think it's a good comparison, but Mark Guiu has that energy that Nicholas Jackson has. They both have this energy. They've got this, it's so brilliant because it spreads. When you have a striker who's willing to press, if you are behind him, you think, fucking hell, I've got to put a shift in. He's going, if the first man isn't trying to make things happen on the pitch, that doesn't set a good example to everyone else. And Mark Guiu, he's got an energy, he's got a great attitude, and I really think he deserved these 2 goals. And I'm glad he started in this game. I didn't think he would start, but I'm glad he did. I think, you could say Nkunku maybe deserved to start, but it's because it's such a long trip to Kazakhstan. That's why a lot of players didn't end up going on the trip. I mean, if you look at our bench in this game, we had Bergstrom, Merrick, Elise, Murray, Campbell, Wilson, Dyer, Vale, Ampa, I think he's Ghanaian international, come on, made his debut as well. And Mweka as well, who came on and made his debut. So it doesn't matter if Nkunku wasn't given minutes, because Mark Guiu showed that he has the potential to really grow as a player. The reality is, though, he's not going to grow that much at Chelsea this season. Hopefully a couple of cup games, maybe featuring in the FA Cup or something like that. But really, he needs a loan. He needs a loan. And ideally, I'd like to see Mark Guiu have a loan in English football, a Championship loan, a Premier League loan, whatever it is, where he can get that valuable game time and prove week in, week out that he can perform. Because I've been happy with his performance, and it's not been regular. It's been very sporadic, but I've been happy with what I've seen. But we do need to see more end product, but we're not going to get a chance to see that, you know, if he's not playing week in, week out. It's very frustrating as well as a player. So the best thing for him is to go out on loan, but I was happy with the first goal. I thought that was great. Driving at the defender, using his pace, using his body, and then the second goal as well, getting in the right position. I think it came off his body as well. But listen, they say it's luck, they say tap in merchants, but if it was that easy, everyone would do it. Mark Guiu did it to a great extent. I just want to finish talking about Disasi, Tosin, and Veiga, and Josh Achimpong as well. It looks like he's been signing a new contract. I was happy with what I saw from them as well. We looked defensively solid. Astana didn't have a great press, so we had quite a lot of time on the ball. There was one time as well where Josh Achimpong, it looked like he might even score. He looked so comfortable on the ball. He was gliding. But defensively, it's good to have him in there as well. No doubt a player, especially with the injuries that we pick up. If we got James and Gusto out, it's worth giving Achimpong some minutes in a Chelsea shirt. If you don't try, you don't know. And we tried today and it looked pretty good. So I'd like to see more of him. As for Disasi as well, nice to see him in a centre-back role instead of as a right-back. He never looked comfortable there. But listen, you got to play where you played. But yeah, I was happy with Disasi and Tosin and Veiga as well. It was a comfortable performance, guys. I wish I could have been there, so apologies for that. But listen, all the best, guys. Let me know what you think about this as well, and we will speak very, very soon. All the best. Bye-bye.